And then we're going to go live here. See if it works now. Do you have a little message?
Being live stream.
Yeah. Do you have a little message?
Being live stream.
Yeah. Awesome. Hello, everyone. Do you have a little message?
Being live stream.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Do you have a little message?
Being
How
live
do you
stream.
do?
You're muted, so
Oh, okay.
hear that.
I don't know. We're just going to try this. And I think it's being recorded on Facebook Live. Hello, everybody. If it is, we're doing this for the first time. We're making technology our friend. I have the lovely Debralee with me here today, and she is here to share about her experience with prosperity. So many of you may know that I have an event this week called Resourced. It is from 12 to 1, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 12 to 1 Eastern. And if you've joined my prosperity experience before, I've created some new content I'm super excited to share with you around feminine wealth archetypes and also the shame spiral. So please, I'll drop the link after this in the comments if you'd like to join. But Debralee was sweet enough today to come on and just share about her experience. And I want to just say Debralee has joined our 5-element wealth group known as the North Star Collective. She's also just joined me at my retreat in Hawaii. I have known her for a long time. She is a beautiful, wonderful, talented performer, professional actress, and is a coach for kids as well, and a mentor, really. And yeah, it's just been my honor to watch her grow over the years. So thank you, Debralee, for being here. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Hailing from sunny California.
That's right, sunny California, and I am from sunny Florida. So opposite sides, but both in the sunshine. So I know you've done the North Star Collective, you've done my retreats. Today, I wanted to invite you just to share a little bit about the prosperity course, since we did just finish it up, and just share with us a little bit about why you joined the program and what you were experienced before that.
Well, thank you for having me on Facebook Live and Zoom Live. This is a first for me.
Me too.
And I remember joining or having the desire to join the prosperity workshop because I was in need of resources and, frankly, a breakthrough with my finances and my thoughts around my money and prosperity in general. And I think for the longest time, I've had this narrative of the starving artist, as a creator, that we will always be starving. And there was something in me that clicked from my experience with the North Star Collective and our coaching sessions, and then the retreat with our feminine leadership on the Big Island, that really, I think, shifted my perspective on the narrative and the words we choose to believe. And that starts from our thought process with what we believe and how we think, and that's how we will behave. So the prosperity workshop couldn't have come at a better time, right after the pandemic. And I have now become self-employed for the first time in the last 2 years.
Yes, awesome. So you, like many of the women in the experience, every woman in there shared like they got 20% raise, they raised their rates, they got a promotion. You chose to leave what you were doing and go out on your own, which probably felt scary, I imagine. How did that feel before you made that transition?
I think I always, deep down inside, and it also was a former partner that believed that I could do this years ago, but I didn't believe in myself then. And I think, again, something about being in lockdown in the pandemic and having to really reflect on my life choices, my goals, made me think about who do I want to become with the crafts and the talents and skills that I possess. And it was scary. The initial thought was, how can I possibly go on my own and be an artist still and make a
Mm.
living and provide to live in one of the most expensive cities in the United States?
Yeah, Los
Is it
Angeles, everyone. Yes, for sure.
New York City? Maybe that's why I couldn't imagine it at the time when I was living in New York, but now Los Angeles, but still both very expensive.
Yes.
It was scary to say the least, but something about, I think, coming out of the pandemic was like, why not? What do I have to lose?
Yeah. So what you shared, and thank you for sharing all that. The biggest thing that I heard you share is really it started with creating the mindset shift and shifting, even noticing just shifting your language and what you believed was possible for you. And eventually that led you to where you are now in our celebration call the other day, where you shared you not only have you raised your rates, but you're welcoming in new clients, and even the old clients that would question the new rates have still been willing to pay your new rate. So walk us through a little bit about what, like, do you have anything specific? Did you have a specific moment where you learned something that helped you make a decision to just change the way you were doing things?
See, a specific moment. I think, like in life, when you have a series of trial and error, but when you continue to be faced with, I think, certain patterns in your life that you realize are limiting you or inhibiting you from moving forward. I guess both limiting and inhibiting is the same thing, but it's the relationship about who I am to myself and to the clients or students in my case that I'm servicing that made me realize I care so much. I'm passionate and I care so much about what I'm offering that when I started to believe that I am enough and I'm valuable and what I have to offer is important and significant, it might not be for all, but I believe that I can reach a certain demographic of students. I think the shift was when I started to notice in the simplest like energy exchange that either it's frustration or like, why do I keep hitting the same pattern when people think they can only pay a certain amount? Like
Hmm.
hourly rate can only be, like, I don't know if I'm articulating that well, but I just felt, I think what shifted was recognizing the patterns that were blocking me. And, and when it, I think after going through the prosperity workshop and identifying archetypes, my belief systems, the narrative, the accountability with our group, I was able to clear, because I remember you kept saying energy is clarity, and that became my mantra throughout the entire course. And I think believing what energy means to me and seeing how that is in exchange in money, but also in time,
Hmm.
the people I spend it with, whether it's a social or professional, basis. That shift, that moment for me was around the middle of the prosperity workshop that I recognized I need to create a policy. I need to create what my guidelines are. I need to create, like in a relationship, when you're looking for that partner, whether business or romantic, what is my criteria that best fits me? So I would say it was halfway through the prosperity workshop that I noticed that moment shifted and I had to create something for myself.
Yeah. And so you're saying prosperity workshop, which I think you're really referring to as
Oh
the
yeah, the
whole
course.
course we
Yeah.
were together for 3 months. So what I'm hearing you say is shifting mindset beliefs, recognizing patterns, repetitive patterns that kept blocking you from receiving money, and recognizing those patterns, recognizing the words that would come out, recognizing the thought patterns, recognizing the mindset. But then also there's this piece that I hear where you're talking about taking ownership and becoming the source of your time, the source of your money, the source of your energy. And really, that halfway through, you really begin to experience that shift. And what you shared the other night was how empowered you feel. And that was like the most amazing thing to witness in you. It's just really like, yeah, I've created like a policy. This is what my policy is. These cancellation fees, the whole thing. This is my time. I value my time, my experience, and this is what it is. If you want to work with me, this is what you pay. And you've raised your rates and you're getting clients to meet you where you are.
Yeah. It's pretty
So
empowering.
I mean, super amazing. I'm just so happy for you. I know this was a really big thing for you to work through. And I don't know that we're ever really like done. And I don't want to say that in a negative way, but it's just like there's always room to just to grow into that next space, whatever that is, without expectation, but just to keep trusting that, there may be more to grow into, or maybe less to do and more to grow. Like I think we're always just um, evolving and growing. What would you say your top 3 celebrations, 2 to 3 celebrations would be, just in what you've learned about yourself? And you can even dig into the retreat a little bit, just because that did happen to fall in the middle of our prosperity experience. What would you say your top 3 celebrations are about yourself over the last couple months?
Top three was gaining tools, which include the resources of how to go about my thought process when I start to feel blocked. I gained a support group I think in our little community of women, especially in the feminine leadership, because I feel like that goes hand in hand with entrepreneurship. So I would say tools, support, and what goes with the support, which I thrive upon, and it's not always fun, is accountability. The
Yeah.
simplicity of now I've gained a support group, but accountability on in addition to that support, which I think is so vital and important of any kind of workshop, any kind of retreat. It's not just a vacation for yourself or a getaway, because you're still dealing with yourself. It's how do you gain momentum after you've just learned and been given tools to now pioneer that pathway for yourself. And for me, my mantra is I want to be counterculture to the artist mentality of living under, poverty mentality or starving artist mentality. So I want to be counterculture in that sense, uh, with my prosperity, my thinking and leadership as well.
So what can you celebrate yourself for? What can you be like, yeah, Debralee?
Well, I make, yeah, I'm a small business owner.
Yeah, you are.
I'm
Yeah.
a small business owner and a creative simultaneously,
Yep.
and it's possible. That's what I celebrate, is the possibility.
Yes. And the more that you do that and show others that, the more you give them permission to join you on that journey as well. You can do what you love, and you can be paid to do what you love. And that's what you were born to do, to really to believe that, to be resourced in that. And yeah, you're navigating that new path, which is so awesome. And so many creatives, there's so many different types of creatives, and it takes a lot of courage to be a creative person. And it's the journey of entrepreneurship is a journey of self-discovery in itself, because you not only are you a creative putting yourself out there, but now you're saying I'm a business owner and a creative, which takes like double the courage. So it's super helpful to have that support and really begin facilitating that healthy relationship with understanding money, because it's an exchange of energy. And for so many of us, for so long, we didn't talk about it, or we ignored it, or we just didn't trust it, or there was some sort of block there, and we're just in survival mode. So we get to go from surviving to thriving. And so just as we close, what would you say is different? I know you've taken a couple courses, like I think the psychology of money. What would you say is different about working with me than any other course that you've taken?
Yeah, I only took the psychology of money through the Actors Fund, which is offered to actors who are part of a union, which is super helpful. And I believe shortly after that, there was a cash and flow workshop as well. The difference I would say between that setting and yours would be, first, the actors. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
I'm
were
not
the only one.
yeah, I'm not around my own kind, although that there's nothing, critical about that. But I think specifically with you, the feminine energy was really important because in this day and age that other parts of the world are still struggling with even educating women
Mm.
is an issue still, let alone to make money and income in any kind of capacity and then be a leader on top of that and considered an expert even if you don't have the credentials. I think for me that's what I felt empowered with your workshop courses. I call them workshop courses, retreat, because we dug a little bit deeper and one on one and in a community support setting that was already based on guidelines of trust and confidentiality. And
Yeah.
the same goes with the Actors Fund as well, and the other two workshops I did and courses. But there wasn't, I think for me, there wasn't the follow through of accountability after I did that. So
Mm.
that to me was an important piece because it's easy to go away. Like I said earlier, you can go to a beautiful island like the Big Island or to Europe and like, oh, I'm getting this trip and oh, a little bit of intention. But without that piece of accountability and follow through, you're still the same person.
Yeah, it's so true. The integration, and I talk about this all the time, and that's why I always offer, like anytime I do a retreat, there's always post retreat integration because I think my coach says this, and I think it's a don't quote me on who quoted it because I wasn't prepared to share this, but I think it's Buddha that says to know and not do is to not know. So it's almost like we can gather tools, but if you don't implement or integrate them, which is where the embodiment piece comes in, the embodiment is the living, the being example of what you gathered and learned. And that's really where being in community with women is so helpful because you're doing it together and you're being supported in it. And there's going to be contractions and expansions, and there's going to be ebbs and flows, and everybody's in different places at different times. But having that support and witnessing other people with the intention to continue integrating it is super helpful. It's like if you go to the gym one day, that doesn't mean, but you don't continue like the routine working out 3 times a week, that one day isn't going to change your health, right? You have to keep practicing that thing.
An experience. It was an
Yeah.
experience, not a lifestyle choice, which I think that also sets it apart. Like I gained knowledge and some understanding in the psychology of money and cash flow, but I think this your prosperity and North Star Collective goes a little bit deeper and the coaching, the one-on-one coaching really helps, I think. And to add to Buddha or whoever said that, but even in the New Testament, to whom much is given, much is required. So it's like now once you have that education, that knowledge, now it is required of you to either share it and practice it, and not just yeah, to practice and share it, not just keep
Yeah,
it to yourself. Now it's knowledge to be shared. It's a gift
that's
to be.
right. That's what prosperity is. It's the energy of giving from a place of overflowing, but like it's a cycle of giving and receiving, which is why I love it so much. And I find that that a lot of women are actually receiving enough in the beginning to actually be able to go and share and give. But yes, then we do go and share because that's how we all grow together. So I want to close with just saying, to anybody who's thinking, because I do have a wellness, wisdom, and wealth event that hasn't officially publicly been released yet, but will be happening November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So that would be like my retreat in Jacksonville Beach. And we do have the prosperity course, which will be opening up in August. However, those who join early just get extra months of group coaching to work into that. So what would you say to somebody who's thinking about, well, actually, since you've done both the 5 element wealth North Star Collective and prosperity, what would you say to the person who's thinking about which one is for me or who's on the fence about either one?
Well, I know from my own experience, I was on the fence in the past because of the belief system that either I A, could not afford it, or B, it was too overwhelming and maybe I needed to prep myself prior. I would say for anybody who feels and is considering this shift and change in their life, consider investing in yourself. And And it's worth the investment if you put your time and effort and energy into it, because if it's to better yourself and improve yourself, then you're going to get what you paid for, kind of thing. It's really about the value of what you're presenting, Jen, but also the value that someone who signs up gets back, because it's really wisdom and knowledge nuggets that you get to keep, and it's fruitful. It's meant to be fruitful
Mm.
and to be multiplied. So I think anybody who's on the fence and is a little bit like, not sure, it's too expensive, I'm not sure if I have that money, there will be a way. And to Jen's mantra, energy is clarity. If it is so clear to you of what you want, the money will come. The
Yeah.
time will come. It will open up. And I've seen it now. I can attest. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. Thank you. And I was just thinking, of reflecting on me entering my relationship with my coach and just thinking of how much the investment piece was part of the transformation. Like, it actually is super scary, but it feels so good to be on the other side of it, to just be like, I did that because I believed in myself. And now here's the results. Here's what I've learned. Here's how things have changed. Because it's when it's a little uncomfortable, you're really willing to show up. I mean, that's just, how it is. And the other women in the group are right there with you, because you're committing. I've talked on my podcast about conscious investing versus unconscious spending. And, there's a reason that it is an investment, because it's about the investment in you, because this is your story. This is what you get to rewrite. And Debralee is an example of, like, I want to do what I love and I want to be paid well for it. And she's on her way. She's shifted working for somebody else. It doesn't happen overnight, guys. I'm going to say, like, it's not like this miracle thing. The more clear you get about where you're going, the more you start to attract that. If you have support, you'll get there. It'll feel better getting there, and you'll probably get there quicker. Some of you might be thinking you can do it on your own, and you probably could, but the value of community is priceless, and it just feels really good to be supported. So, I want to invite everybody listening to the Resourced Experience this week, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. We will be live in this group if this worked. We'll be doing the Zoom call live here all week too. Thank you, Debralee, so much for joining, and thank you everyone else for joining in today.
My pleasure.
See. Okay, I think I did it. I'll just have to go back and see if that actually. Thank you for being my